All right. How are you doing today? Thank you very much. Hey, I'm excited to go live here and answer any questions you may have. I've got some questions already from folks that we're going to go over. And if you have any comments, questions, throw them in the chat window over there, and I'll try to catch those as we're going. So just to kind of share with you some of the things we're going to talk about today, the questions I have. So I've got questions on, I've got some questions on the FDA. Let's see, I've got a couple of questions on branding and some comments on branding from a great conversation I had with Greg yesterday, along with uh, private label, Costco. I've got one Costco, and then also working with distributors. So one of the things um, that yeah, let me put that over there. So there we go. So the first thing regarding the FDA. So I think I'll share I'll share my our roadmap. So one of the things that we have for the FDA is a roadmap, and see if I can figure out how to share this. If I can get that on the screen. Yeah, I'm not really sure how to do that. So anyway, yeah, this is the first time I've done this. So I don't see how I can share that, but I'm just going to kind of share with you our roadmap. So what we've done is we put together a importing roadmap for importers, and it walks you through. Let's see if we can. Let's see if I can get it in here. No, I don't see how I can bring it in. Send feedback, do that. So anyway, I kind of walk through that regarding for the importers. So for importers, we have the gateway to the U.S. It's an insider's guide to mastering food imports, and we work with our clients on this. And it walks us through the different issues that we have with and the steps for bringing food products into the United States. And so, in general, when we just go through the list, the first one we do the introduction to the food importation. So the key agencies involved are the FDA, the USDA, and the Border Patrol group. And as far as the main agencies involved, and so we also do the project checklist and timing, understanding FDA requirements, packaging and labeling. If you have any questions about that, just put them over there so I can be happy to answer them for you on that. And so uh, next, I'm going to jump into the one to share a little bit about branding. And so branding, yesterday I had a very good conversation with Greg. Greg is a private label manufacturer, and also his company is a brand owner. And so in with his company, they do a lot of private label work with a lot of different brands, and they also are developing a lot of different labels. And so part of our discussion was reviewing some labels. And I think this is what we were discussing is something that I see repeatedly on the projects I work with the clients, and with potential people that we end up being engaging on their different projects, and that is with the label design, working with designers, working with label folks. And the question that that arrives is, what do we do to make an effective label? How do we go about doing that? And how do we work with our designer on that? And so what often happens are the labels are beautiful, well designed. They hire a great designer, a great person to work with on the project, but they drop the ball. What's missing, where the gaps are, is they drop the information for the brand and for the packaging uh, before it gets to the designer. So they're expecting the designer or the design agency to create this powerful, wonderful brand or package design. When in reality, it's the it's the brand owner, it's you in the food business. You're responsible for supplying them the data and the information. What we want to do is make data driven decisions with the brand design. So there's two basic categories of information we want to work with. We want to work with, number one, we want to work with the consumers, consumer data, consumer information, who our consumers are, and the job our product is performing for them. The second piece is the category, and oftentimes we don't put together an effective design brief so that we can share that with the clients, and it just we end up dropping the ball expecting our designer to create beautiful brands, beautiful logos that look attractive, that are well designed for our package, without informing the design decisions with those two basic categories of the consumer and the category. The other piece that often is missing with the designers, and it's this happens all the time, and that's the FDA regulations. So you've got regulations as well there that need to be informed to your designer, particularly if your designer has not worked with package design before, food package design. They're going to need to understand what the rules are and what's required, as far as placement. All of the basics there. And so those are the three big areas of information and data that we want to share with the share with our designers, design team, people working on our package design and on our branding. So the selling to the largest retailers. And so I wanted to share some information regarding retailers and working with the largest retailers. So one of the things that I noticed and discovered early on is that the buyers of food products, they generally don't don't sample your products. They're not looking at your product as far as the flavor profile, or the taste. They actually are not tasting the products, and they're not necessarily even concerned about their taste. They expect it's going to taste good, but they're more interested in information. And it's the same thing we were just talking about. So it's about data. They're looking for information. And so um, I've put together the 9 pillars, and buyers are looking for basically 9 buckets of information when they look at a food product, look at an opportunity to bring a product in. And they're looking for information regarding the consumer that likes your product and their shoppers. They're looking for information on the product, and they're looking for information on the retailer. And so that's kind of the way they're looking at it and what they're looking for in the products. So anyway, um, let's see. So in regards, if you're selling to these large retailers and a large buyer presentation. So when you're selling to them, they're going to be evaluating whether or not to bring your product in, and also they've got to take it to a buying committee. And so that's why it's so important that we supply them the information for them to effectively make a decision on those nine areas. I call it 9 pillars, but it's 9 areas on for product performance. Mm. And so, with my buyer presentations early on, they were focused much more on the quality of the product, the flavor, how we make the product, our branding. And it wasn't until I started to understand fully what the buyers were looking for that I began to have so much more success with sales presentations. And so one of the things it's often missing from working with my clients are the basically for the retailers, they're looking for the business case. What impact is it going to have on the category? And in a nutshell, after we look at all these different 9 areas, the most important thing the buyers are looking for, they're looking for new dollars for their category. So they don't want to exchange dollars. So they're looking to find out how you're going to bring new new customers into their category, or possibly how they're going to trade up from lower priced options in the category, giving them new dollars. And so that's that's what the buyers are looking for, and that's what the 9 pillars answers for them. And so I hope that answers the question. The other thing for food brands I wanted to share was a story uh, regard just a basic example for of Van Halen. If what does Van Halen have to do with the food business, and how do they, how does that relate to the food success? And so, basically at the time, Van Halen was working in California in LA, doing everything they can to break through and get a record deal. They couldn't get a record deal at the time. Everyone was all the records that were selling were disco and pop, and it wasn't hard rock and the rock and roll Van Halen style at the time. So what did they do? They started locally. They worked in their local market and they dominated their local market. It wasn't until they were repeatedly selling out show after show after show in LA, and that they were able to get a record deal. And it's the same thing for brands. You need and want to dominate your local market. You want to, like Van Halen, they would go to local birthday parties. They would go to small events, small bars, larger locations, until they were extremely successful and dominated the local market. And again, they were selling out 5,000 seat at the end. They were able to grow their brand in LA to where they would have 5,000 people at their shows that they would put on in Los Angeles. And this is before they broke a record deal and became nationwide, internationally known like they are today. And so that's really important. I'm always talking about the local market. I'm suggesting you be successful in your local market. I'm pushing that out as far as what you need to do for the business. You need to be in your local market and always share. The reason I share that is because sales volume, sales numbers. So the farther you go from your home market, uh, the oftentimes the more difficult it is for sales, and the sales that you do receive are not as strong, and so your sales velocity is weaker um, in these non-local markets. And so if you think about some of the national brands we know today, let me just pull out. We'll just think about Cozy Shack Pudding, Cheese Factory Restaurant, In and Out Burgers. All three of those brands, and I can name many others. They did not leave their state, like we were just talking about Van Halen. They were not out of their home market for a decade. So they spent a decade or longer, in some cases much longer, um, in their home market before they went outside the market to expand their business. And it was with this strong business model that they were able to find success and go further with that. And so that was what that. So I had a couple of emails regarding Costco. I did a Costco video recently and shared some of the success we've had. My clients have had. I've been successful and helped 22 different businesses. We've gone on to sell tens of millions of dollars to Costco Wholesale, and so I just wanted to walk through a little bit about Costco and share with you some insights on it. Also, there's a video. It may have been about 4 weeks ago that I shared regarding Costco Wholesale and kind of walked through. And I just thought I'd share some of the. I've got a Costco document that I can send to you if you send me a note, tim@timforest.com, and kind of just an overview. But just to give you an idea They've got in the U.S. they have almost 600 locations. So I'm going to. I want this to be larger. Yeah, so in the US, Costco Wholesale has almost 600 locations. The volume that you can do there is unbelievable. Worldwide, they have outside the US, they have about 230 locations. There's a little bit more than that, but it's about 230 locations outside the US. One of the most important things to think about is this is a membership only. This is a membership warehouse. So what that shares is they have a very low upcharge, a very low margin on the product at Costco, whereas the way they basically earn their profits are from the sale of the membership cards. So that's where the money comes from. They use the margin basically to run the business. The profits come from the card. If you look at any of their annual reports, so when you think about Costco, the volume is unbelievable. You can sell anywhere from 12 to $100 million a year through Costco only. Their sales are almost approaching right at $200 billion in sales. So they're doing about 4 billion a week in sales. They have individual locations that are about $500 million, $10 million a week in sales. To give you an idea, they're one of the largest retailers in the world. Now, um, when we talk about Costco Wholesale, one something to think about as far as how large they are. They're the largest single location for selling wine. They're the largest single location that sells diamonds in the world. When they purchase salmon, they move the salmon market. It moves with Costco as far as the amount of volume they buy. They sell an unbelievable amount of pies uh, at the holidays. It's just amazing. Their pumpkin pie sales are absolutely unbelievable. And Costco is the one retailer that basically can fundamentally impact the course of your brand, the volume that they do. And in addition to that, because of the demo program, when you do demos for the program, it not only impacts Costco sales, which it does, but it can impact other retail sales in the market as well. And so, it's an unbelievably powerful retailer for brands that are fortunate enough to get in there. And it requires planning and strategy. There probably is, in some ways, it's very straightforward with work with Costco, and at the other end of the spectrum, at the same time, it is very difficult because of the volume requirements, the velocity. I've worked with products, some of the most successful products that have ended up doing over $3,000 a week per location. And so that's why it's so important that you plan this out and that it's the appropriate time for you to do business with them. And also, it's something to think to realize that 98% of all the items that go into Costco, they fail at gaining in everyday placement. So you really have to you want to plan well and do a great job. So just to give you an idea of what it looks like to hit it out of the park with Costco, um, we're talking about one SKU, just one item in Costco can do anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000 per warehouse per week. So we're talking when we share those numbers, we're talking about $2 million per week for one item for a brand. That's per week. And so when you do the math on that, and when you look at some of the most successful items, that's $100 million business at Costco. That's with one item, and really it's unbelievable. And so when you're thinking about the project with Costco, you want to look at you want to be thinking about obviously the product development, the branding and labeling, your packaging. You want to think about your packaging as far as the pallet is the package. So from 20 feet away, you want to be thinking about that pallet can be shopped from all sides. And as consumers take the product away, it automatically drops down and goes from there. And you want the packaging to be beautiful. Also, it needs to be strong. And so you're going to have to be working with that in a very strong way. And so that's some information about Costco. Well, I hope this information helps. And let's see if there's anything on Costco I wanted to share in addition. That's it. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching and have a great day.